Canto 30. Summary. This canto opens with another epic simile using the violence and grief of both Thebes and Troy, stories taken from Ovid's Metamorphoses, to provide a baseline against which to compare the far greater violence of two particular wretches here in the 10th ditch of Malebolge. They are Gianni Schicchi and Mira, who run around thrashing the other sinners. Both were impersonators. The first impersonated his deceased uncle, Buoso Donati, for financial gain, the gaining of a prize mule. The other impersonated her mother to incestuously gain access to her father's bed. While the alchemists suffered from sores and lesions, the impersonators suffer from rabies. After Griffolino finishes telling the travelers these stories, the pilgrim looks around at the others and sees the enormous shade of Master Adam, who suffers from a form of dropsy, known today as edema, that severely increases his thirst, swells his belly from improper digestion, and makes his face bony and thin. Thus, were it not for his legs, he would look just like a lute. Master Adam, we learn, minted counterfeit coins. He practiced his art in Romena, near Florence, where he forged coins stamped with the image of John the Baptist. Next to him lie Potiphar's wife, who falsely accused Joseph of rape, and Sinon, the Greek, who lied to the Trojans about the nature of the wooden horse that was being led into the city. Sinon and Adam get into a testy and insulting, though admittedly somewhat humorous, back and forth, which enthralls Dante just as the gore of the previous circle inebriated his eyes. Virgil again has to rebuke him, and maybe his readers as well, for being so captivated, and Dante is shamed. Virgil closes the canto with the reminder that the desire to hear such debased conversation is a base desire. Canto 30. Falsifiers. In the time when Juno's indignation because of Semele was set against the Theban blood, and not for the first time, Athamas was driven mad, so much so that seeing his wife walking with their 2 sons, one on each hand, he cried, "Spread out the nets, that I might lay hold of the lioness and her lion cubs there at the crossing." And then, stretching out his pitiless claws, he took hold of the one named Laerchus, spun him round, and dashed him against a rock. She then drowned herself with the other load. And when fortune brought down the all-daring high-mindedness of the Trojans, such that with the whole kingdom the king was undone, Hecuba, a sad wretch taken captive, when she saw Polyxena sacrificed, and when she saw her Polydorus cast up on the shore of the sea, frenzied and full of anguish, she was barking like a dog, so much was the pain that twisted her mind. But neither Theban nor Trojan raving was ever seen in anyone as cruel, not to bruise beasts or even human limbs, as I saw in 2 wan and naked shades, that biting were running in the manner of swine when their sty is fully opened. One arrived at Capocchio and mauled him on the nape of the neck, such that, dragging, he grated his gut along the hard floor. The Aretine was left, trembling, and said, "That devilish imp is Gianni Schicchi, who runs around rabid, so thrashing others." "Oh," I said, "so may the other not sink its teeth into you. Let it not strain you to tell us who it is before it leaves." He answered, "That one is the ancient soul of wicked Mira, who became lover outside of all right love to her father. In order to sin with him, she came thus, falsifying herself in another form, as did the one that just left, taking pains to win a prize mule, the queen of the herd, by counterfeiting Buoso Donati, making a will, giving it legal form. After the rabid pair had run away, on whom I kept an eye, I turned it to gaze on the other evil-born souls. I saw one there looking just like a lute, if only he had been chopped at the groin, divided from the rest where man is forked. The heavy dropsy that so disfigures the members with ill-converted fluid, making the face not fit with the belly, was forcing him to hold his lips open as does the hectic fever, that for thirst one lip turns toward the chin, the other up. "Oh, you that without any punishment, I know not why, are in the wretched world," he
said to us. Gaze and attend to this, the misery of Master Adam. Alive, I had much of what I desired. Alas, now I crave a drop of water. The little streams that descend the green hills of the Casentino to the Arno, making their channels cold and soaking wet, always stand before me, and not in vain, for their image more and more makes me dry, more than the malady that thins my face. The rigid justice that ravages me and knowingly uses the place where I sin to force my sighs to flee all the faster. There is Romena, where I falsified the alloy sealed with the Baptist's image, for which I left my burnt body above. But if I should see here that wretched soul of either Guido or Alessandro or their brother, I would not trade the sight for Fontebrande. One is down here now if the vexed shades that move about speak truth. But what does it matter, being so weighed down? If only I were of such a lightness to walk 1 inch every 100 years, already I would have gone down the path looking for him among these obscene souls, even though it circles 11 miles, and it is not less than half a mile wide. Among such I have been made family because of them, for they pursued me to coin the florins with 3 carats dross.
And I to him, Who are the 2 wretches, smoking like wet hands in winter, lying close to the boundary of your right-hand side?
I found them here, and they have not yet turned, he answered, since I rained down on this slope, and I don't believe they ever will move. One is the false accuser of Joseph, the other is Sinon, false Greek of Troy. Their acute fevers give off such a stench. And one of them, at this, became annoyed, perhaps from having been named so darkly. With his fist he struck the other's hard gut. That resounded as if it were a drum, and Master Adam struck him in the face with his arm, which seemed no less hard, and said, Although I am deprived of the movement of those members that are heavy, I keep my arm loose for just such an occasion. To which he said, You did not have it so ready when you were going to the fire, though it was loose enough for your coining. The dropsical one. What you say is true, but you were not such a true attester there at Troy where they asked you for the truth. If I spoke false and you falsified coins, said Sinon, then I am here for one fault, but you for more than any other fiend. May one remind you, liar, of the horse, answered the one whose belly was inflamed, and let the whole world know this is your pain. And let thirst be your own pain, said the Greek, when it cracks your tongue and the foul water makes a hedge of your gut before your eyes. Then the minter, So your mouth rends itself because of your evil, as is normal. For if I thirst and my fluids pad me, you have the burning heat and the headaches, and to lick the mirror of Narcissus you would need little to be invited.
I was wholly transfixed in hearing them when my master said to me, Keep looking soon enough, and I will be brawling with you. When I heard him speak to me with such ire, I turned myself round toward him with such shame. Even now it wheels through my memory. As the one who dreams his own destruction, and, dreaming, desires it to be a dream, yearning for what is as if it were not, so too I became, unable to speak, wishing to pardon myself, which I did, though I did not believe I had done so. My master, less shame washes greater flaws, which yours has not been. Therefore unburden yourself of all suffering, and know this, I am always beside you. If again it should happen that fortune finds you where people are in a similar dispute, to wish to hear such is a base desire.